Tell me about your you said you have a plan for jobs.
I do. We need a person in the office for Texas Agriculture Commissioner that has some agricultural experience and also has some business experience. I'm fourth generation cattle rancher. My sons are the fifth, and I'm a small business owner. But one thing that we're hurting for, not only in Texas but across this country, is jobs. Thanks to NAFTA, thanks to a lot of these free trade agreements, we've lost a lot of our jobs to other countries because the laws have been made to where our corporations, it's more profitable for them to go overseas and create jobs than it is here. Well, we released a policy about 6 weeks ago. It's on reformtda.com or hankgilbert.com that will reform this agency and create some jobs. We also released a biofuel policy about 3 weeks ago that's on our website. And in the biofuel policy, what we call for is taking a lot of this land out of CRP, appealing to the rice farmers who are struggling right now to make a living, appealing to some of these cotton growers and small grain producers that are struggling right now. And let's plant crops. Let's plant sugar cane on the coast. Let's plant cassava. It's a South American crop. Up here on the plains, produces twice the ethanol per bushel as corn does. Doesn't have to have water for irrigation. Excels in dry, humid areas or dry, arid climates, and would be a big cash crop for this area. When we start doing that, and we can show that we can create and produce ethanol and biofuels that will actually cheapen the price of gasoline, we're going to create a lot of jobs. We're going to create a lot of industry jobs, refinery jobs. But other aspects of this industry, we can create jobs. Texas is the #1 beef producing state in the country, yet we have no identifiable beef product anywhere in the market. You ask people, even inside Texas, but all over this country and out of this country, where the beef comes from. And a lot of people will tell you Omaha, because of Omaha steaks. The majority of those cattle that they make and put in those boxes, Omaha steaks, are grown right here. So what I want to do, it's the same thing that the beef industry is facing right now among the 3 corporate beef packers that are controlling the entire beef market. Allow producers to make more money. We're going to create a Texas-branded beef product here in this state with independent packers in cooperation with beef cattle producers that want to join that co-op, and that money will trickle all the way back down to the guy that raised that calf. Be a tremendous industry, millions of dollars into this state, into this state's economy, and create a ton of jobs, both local jobs and regional jobs.
How does the Agriculture Commissioner do that?
You do that through programs that either are currently in place, like the Go Texan program in the Department of Ag, or any other type of marketing branch within that department. You also work with the legislature to get these things approved and pass laws that will allow for co-ops to be formed, both of agricultural interest and non-agricultural interest, to promote this and get this off the ground. It's receiving rave reviews everywhere we go because people are ready for something different. Corporate ag has taken over this country, and by doing so, it's forcing generation upon generations of farmers out of business. But there's one other thing I want to bring up, that because I'm talking strictly about ag. This agency was established decades ago for 2 purposes. One, to assist the industry and the producers, and the other is a consumer watchdog. Just before I came here today, I went around checking gas stations because the Department of Agriculture is supposed to regulate and monitor any type of equipment where a product is sold by weight or volume, whether that's the scales in the grocery store, the scales at the tobacco shop where you buy your pipe tobacco, or the gasoline stations. And there's a little round seal supposed to be on every one of those instruments saying that thing has been checked and measured for accuracy. From where we are right here in Memorial Park, either direction, the first gas station you come to on Washington Street, both of those stations are out of compliance. In 15 minutes of driving down the interstate and on a few city streets here in Amarillo, I found 5 out of 14 gas stations that were out of compliance. That's 1 out of every 3, which means there's a very good potential that you're getting ripped off when you go buy gas there because those pumps haven't been inspected for accuracy, and you may not be getting everything you're buying. That is a failed initiative of this guy's leadership. We can talk about the Plainview peanut incident from 2.5 years ago that happened on his watch where that peanut butter got out and never should have because they were supposed to do on-site inspections while that plant was in operation, and they admitted they didn't do that, or they would have seen the feces and the dead birds and the dead rats, and we could have stopped that peanut butter from getting out into the food chain. That's what I will do as your ag commissioner. Not only that, I'll put inspectors on the border and on the ports and test that food product coming in from other countries, and if it don't meet the same requirements that our producers have to meet, then I won't allow it in our food system. I'll turn it around.
Let me go back to the big ag for a minute and just ask one question. How do you break the hold of big ag?
I don't know that you break the holes of big ag, but you create markets outside of big ag. And you create policies, you create programs outside of big ag that will work for our farmers that actually produce the most food. We've seen it happen in Missouri. You know, Missouri took their pork industry as a private initiative, and they developed their own pork industry outside of Swift and all the big corporate ag guys. And now they have a thriving pork industry in Missouri, and they have niche markets all over the country for that pork. We can do the same thing here in Texas with beef. We can do it with goats and sheep as well. I mean, we can do that in every conceivable product. You know, what I want to challenge these cotton farmers out here in the South Plains, you know, thanks to NAFTA and all the different trade deals, the WTO now tells these cotton farmers what their cotton's worth. You know, when President Bush in his last year of his administration, when they were working on the 08 Farm Bill, and the WTO said before they'd even sit down at the table, they wanted to see a 20% reduction in U.S. cotton, and President Bush told the Congress, make it happen. You know, I don't believe that any outside entity should determine the price for a person's product. So I want to challenge the cotton farmers. Help me get this co-op legislation. Help me, number one, hire me for this job. Then help me get this co-op legislation passed that David Swinford's tried to pass for the last 2 sessions and couldn't get done. And by God, let's build our own textile mills, because you know what's happening right now? A Brazilian company's already gotten a permit to build a textile mill down in the valley. And they're going to sit here and try to buy Texas cotton at the world market price and make more money on cotton products. The heck with that. Let's build our own textile mills owned by the cotton producers. Let's take our cotton. If the world market's not willing to offer a break-even or profitable price for cotton, let's take our own cotton, let's make our own products, our own U.S. products, and I'll guarantee you we won't have a problem selling them over that cheap Chinese crap.